Okay, this next presentation is going to be about Aleister Crowley versus Anton Lavey. Now, Aleister Crowley was a member of the Golden Dawn, and he went on to become a member of the Ordo Templi Orientis. Anton Lavey was the founder of the Church of Satan. So a lot of people get the two of them confused, as well as their teachings. A lot of people assume that Aleister Crowley was a Satanist and black magician, and therefore his teachings inevitably lead to the teachings of Anton Lavey, as though Lavey was in some manner continuing or expanding on the teachings of Aleister Crowley, and this is incorrect. I think this is due primarily to not understanding the teachings of Aleister Crowley, and part of this has to do with not reading all of his materials and working with either the Golden Dawn or his ritual practices from the vantage point of having had the experience of transcending one's individuality, experiencing the oneness of the universe. When I first got involved with the teachings of Crowley, I had already spent a significant amount of time practicing meditation and Raja Yoga. So with that and a little bit of help from LSD, I was able to have an experience of the silent interval between thoughts, which caused me to dissolve, much in a manner described by Ram Dass on his video about LSD. So you should listen to that because it's basically exactly what I experienced. Now, the reason that Crowley wasn't a Satanist, once again, is that most Satanists, as far as I know, are not capable of transcending their ego. They've never had that experience and assume that it is an illusion. It's not a valid experience, and that the only point to the magic is from the vantage point of the individual or the isolated self. So here is what the founder of the Satanic Church, Anton Lavey, had to say about Crowley. As early as 1951, Anton's attitudes had been formulated enough to try to seek out a group of official devil worshippers. He visited a chapter of the Order of Thelema in Berkeley, followers of Aleister Crowley, who prided himself on being the wickedest man in the world and supposedly in touch with the darker elements. Anton was disappointed to find the Berkeley bunch mystically minded card readers who emphasized the study of Eastern philosophy, Oriental languages, stars, and contemplation to reach the spiritual nirvana of oneness. A few years earlier, Anton had ordered Crowley's books from Jack Parson in Pasadena: Equinox of the Gods, Magic Without Tears, Moonchild, Diary of a Dope Fiend, Sword and Song, Tannhauser, The Book of Lies, Yoga for Yahoos, and The Book of the Law. Wynne John Simmons' biography of Crowley The Great Beast came out in 1952, Anton concluded that the Thelemites' founder was a druggy poser whose greatest achievements were as a poet and mountain climber. Despite hysterical tales of the wild satanic orgies he was said to preside over, and the blasphemous insights his writings were said to contain, Crowley's followers were rather innocuous, much more ethereal than Anton expected. It occurred to Anton that people seemed compelled to manufacture fantasies about supposed devil-worshipping cults, no matter how bland the group might actually be. And this is Anton Lavey in The Secret Life of a Satanist. This is going to be a little bit over most people's heads, but I decided to choose this as Crowley's reply to Anton Lavey, since he is no longer with us at the moment, at least in the physical form. As far as the grade of exempt adept, they are on the same path as the White Brotherhood, for until that grade is attained, the goal is not disclosed. Then only are the goats, the lonely leaping mountain masters, separated from the gregarious huddling valley-bound sheep. Then those who have well learned the lessons of the path are ready to be torn asunder, to give up their own life to the bait of the abyss, which is and is not they. The others, proud in their purple, refuse. They make themselves a false crown of the horror of the abyss. They set the dispersion of Corazon upon their brows. They clothe themselves in the poisoned robes of form. They shut themselves up. And when the force that made them what they are is exhausted, their strong towers fall. They become the eaters of dung in the day of Be With Us, and their shreds, strewn in the abyss, are lost. Not so the masters of the temple that sit as piles of dust in the city of pyramids, awaiting the great flame that shall consume that dust to ashes. Okay, so basically what Crowley is saying is that the individual self has to be, so to speak, sacrificed in order to have this experience of unity, which is not limited to the isolated individual or point of view. I'll conclude on that note for now. I get more into this in my book, Metaphysica, Chapter 2, entitled Duality, Ego, and the Devil. So you might want to check that out. See you guys soon.